Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tales of Nevada, past and present. I'm Dave Asher, sitting in for John O'Brien, who's taking the day off. We've got a great show. We're going to talk about the history of Hot August Nights and the new directors here. We're just going to get right into it, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Let's face it, flooding is a fact of life. You may not be able to predict, but you can always prepare to avoid losses to structures, land, and even lives. Traditional protection like sandbags many times don't work. The new solution, trap bag flood and erosion systems. Low cost, great support, high stability, and load capacity. Easy to store and move with quick and easy installation. Protect your life, home, business, or land. For more information on this revolutionary flood and erosion system, contact Trap Bag today.
All of us at Shoeman's Custom Cycle are ready to get you and your Harley ready for the road. From oil and tire changes to high-performance engine upgrades and dyno tuning, we at Shoeman's have got you covered with experienced factory-certified mechanics and a full-service machine shop loaded with parts and accessories. Shoeman's Custom Cycle has been serving Northern Nevada since 1988. So ride on down to Shoeman's Custom Cycle at 275 East 4th Street in downtown Reno.
Shoeman's Custom Cycle, we're the biker's bike shop.
On a blanket with my baby is where I'll be.
And here we are at Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. Boy, with that intro, that's the perfect thing we got going for today's show. We're talking about Hot August Nights. But before we get going, I got to let you know I'm missing our co-host here today, Mr. Hugh Roy Marshall. I just love his intro of why we do this show every week. You know, he reminds us how important it is that Nevada became a state and how we helped with the gold and silver out of Virginia City to help form the United States back in the beginning. So I do miss his explanation of that. I look forward to it every week, but I'll tell you in his absence, Nevada is important to the foundation of this country, and that's what the reason for this show is recording the history of all the entrepreneurs, all the famous people, all the people that brought Nevada to life and continues to this day, because it's Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. So we're talking today about Hot August Nights. It's been around a long time here in Reno. We've got the new director here, Mike Wan. Welcome to the set.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You know, I love Hot August Nights, and it's my favorite event of the year. I'm a car guy. With an extensive background in motorsports. I drag race and I do all that stuff out of Top Gun, and I actually built Reno Friendly Raceway, so we've had the clay oval out there for a while. And just love what that does to this town. It transforms the town into this hot rod mecca of music and dancing and hot rods. And you took over after Tony in 2015. I'm going to read real quick the press release from Hot August Nights. When the 29th annual Hot August Nights main event culminates this year, 2015, current executive director Tony Martini will pass the torch to longtime Nevadan Mike Wan. After lengthy and careful consideration of 50 applicants from across the globe, the Hot August Nights Board of Directors determined Wan's dedicated and leadership experience in both public and private sectors to be ideal fit for the high-profile organization. Mike Wan will depart from his regional security manager job at Charter Communications. He will take the seat at Hot August Nights helm and at the organization's official executive director position, August 31st, 2015. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's just a great job. So you beat out 50-plus applicants from around the world. And so what we want to know is, who the heck are you? Why are you that good? And what made you qualified for this job?
Well, you know what? That seems like that was 15 years ago, and it's only been 2 years. It's been a long time. But I got to tell you, it's been a great challenge. I would think out of anything that I brought to the table, probably wasn't my law enforcement background as much as just my organizational skills. I don't think people realize that being in law enforcement, you have to multitask every day. I don't care if you're out on the street or behind a desk. And being able to multitask in my prior job, I think has made this job a lot easier. It isn't easy, but it's made it easier because, you know, you got these inbox drills, and every day is an inbox drill. Every day is a different phone call. Every day is, what have we got done? What do we still need to do? And trying to keep on task. You know, my thing is just getting done early, because you don't know what tomorrow brings. And with sponsorships, with our car participation numbers. We've changed over our software for our registration. It never changes. There's always things to get better, and there's always things that we're looking at to improve, not only our systems, but at the end of the day, everything flows and it's faster. And for the customer, which is the car participant, we want to make sure that they're happy at the end of the day and they want to come back. So we could do this for another 30 plus years.
Isn't that great? Now, people come from all over the world, especially California, which is another world, but that's a whole other subject too. So it brings a lot of visitors to Reno, and it represents Reno so well. People leave with a great image of Reno, and they must think this is the neatest town on the planet to have such a great hot rod convention, if you will. I'm going to go over the history briefly because we really want to know what you're going to bring to Hot August Nights and the future. But briefly, during an evening night on August 1st, 1986, at the Reno Sparks Convention Center, they had an event there with 10,000 spectators were massed together in anticipated of seeing and hearing a live event with the Righteous Brothers, Wolfman Jack, and Jan and Dean. And that was the birth of Hot August Nights, August 1st, 1986. It started off as a concert with hot rods as a side note, and it seems that as it's evolved, the hot rods have taken over, and man, they take over this town. So that's the history back in '86. We just love what that brings to Reno, and the money and the talent and the people, and that goes on all year long here. I mean, we're gearheads here in Northern Nevada, and we just love our cars. So tell us what you're going to bring to Hot August Nights and what you see as the future.
Well, first of all, that set the foundation. I mean, for anything to be a 30-year event, you have to have a good foundation. I don't think they thought about this 30 years ago, 31 years ago, that event would turn into what it is. You look at every parking lot, you look at every downtown, you look at, if we could find a big piece of concrete, we would use it. So that's the goal, is to keep this going. And for me, if you look at 30 years ago, let's talk about bands. So 30 years ago when this first started, the bands that played were probably bands that were only 10 and 15 years old. Well, if I did that today using bands that are only 10 or 15-year-old, it wouldn't be the same. So we have to progress. We can't play and find bands that played in the 50s. They either don't or they're not with us anymore. So as we evolve and we move forward, I think everyone has to realize we have to progress with our bands as well and look at bands that this year. Our lineup this year is unbelievable. Let's start with Saturday night with Joan Jett. Joan Jett was just getting started back 10 years of it back in '86.
Interesting perspective. You're right.
So Rick Springfield, he was doing soap operas and singing, and that's our Friday night lineup. Johnny Rivers on Thursday night, and these are all Grand Sierra. Pablo Cruz, he's over at the Sparks event on a Saturday night. If you would have thought about using those bands 10, 15, 20 years ago, we would have been out of our element.
There would have been no name recognition
Today,
at all.
though, we have to look at those bands because those bands come with the younger demographic. So that younger demographic is the 40s and 50-year-olds, or even the 30-year-olds who are going to find the love for the entertainment, find the love for the cars, because we can't just plan on having the people that did this in '86 who have cars thinking they're going to be here in 2025, because the chances of them still having their cars is going to be slim to none.
Have you noticed that in the same genre as the bands fading into the sunset, a lot of the car owners were older guys? They had the 50s cars. Are there less and less of them? Although the entries are still at record numbers.
They're still there. The cars are still there, but you're starting to see a lot of requests come through my desk wanting us to expand our years. Now, I was an event in Biloxi this last year, and they went to 1989.
Oh,
and I talked to the executive director. He goes, I would never do that again. The problem with 89 is, you could have a 1982 Honda Accord in the event.
Right.
So, we're at 76 right now. We're going to hold there for a while. There's a lot of great cars, 76 and older. The board will make a decision in a few years if we move that up, maybe to 78 or 79. But we got to be careful on how far we go.
And that's just after recently bumping it from 72 to 76.
Yeah, we did a lot of years at 72.
Yeah, a lot of years at 72.
So I think we're good. There's a lot of, I got to tell you, this last weekend, Memorial Day weekend was just passed, but mid-May, we did our Spring Fever event.
Great event.
Not only did we have a lot of cars down there, almost a record amount of cars down there, but the quality of cars down there is the best I've seen in a show like that. It was hard. We go out and pick our poster car, or our car for our wraps, so they pick 8 cars. It was hard to pick them. We had some beautiful cars, and cars we haven't seen in our event before. These are new cars that either they came to the area, or locals that are building these new cars that are unbelievable.
Well, I think there is still a hot rod fad going on. What I've noticed, there's reality shows of these chop shops and hot rod shops all over the country, from the guys in Dallas and the guys in Southern California.
Yeah.
It started off with those two guys with the choppers, and man, there must be 24 reality shows of how to customize cars these days, and buying them and selling them and customizing them. And I think that that's just going to keep growing. We love our cars.
We do love our cars. You know, it's a great point because Dave Kindig has a show.
Yeah.
And we actually got him to come out this year. He's going to be at the Grand Sierra at our event.
Right. He's out of Salt Lake City.
He's out of Salt Lake City. He's going to come out with at the Grand Sierra, and he's going to have his big 80-foot rig. He's going to be signing autographs. That draws people.
I'm a big fan. Bitchin' Rides is his show.
Yeah, so that demographic isn't probably your demographic that the same people were from the 80s and 90s. It's a younger demographic, and these are different types of cars.
Well, this is just it's just such a blossoming event, continually growing, continually changing. And we love the changes that they made. They allowed a little more foreign car involvement, which was not allowed in the beginning, you know. But that's happened even with the bikers. We also have street vibrations. You couldn't put a Japanese bike in with those Harleys 10, 15 years ago. I mean, that was fighting words. And nowadays they're all welcome because they've all become road warriors, they've all become cruisers, and they're all realizing that we're all on the road together. So same thing's happening there. And it's just so great to see this thing evolve and see it just become this icon for Reno. And tell us about the support. You get the city council involved, everybody else jumps on board?
Well, we have to have everybody involved, from small businesses to large businesses to city governments. This event isn't an event that we take lightly. I mean, in 1986, of course, our costs were low, but so was our incomes and the city revenue. Today, the revenues are, I don't know of an event that brings the kind of traffic, not only at the mom and pop convenience stores, but the casinos and other restaurants as ours does. It's so spread out. And our event is tough because it's a free event. It's free for everyone to go, and most of our venues, like all those concerts I mentioned, those are free. So I talked to a couple that was going to go see one of those performers in California, and they canceled because they could come see it for free as an $80 ticket. So that person then comes here, stays in a room, has dinner, pays for gas to get here. And then if we're lucky, we get them to go to our auction. We have a new auction group that we'll hopefully talk about in a little bit.
Right.
They go to our drag racing, which is, of course, your love. We got that event that's going on for a while.
I love the drag racing.
And last year we started a new event. It's drifting, and it's kind of like the new crave of.
I saw a lot of that too.
It's a car thing. It's a car person that wants to go to it.
It's the smell, the rubber, the noise. Drifting is drag racing right in front of you instead of they're here and they're gone.
Yeah.
So this is just a great topic. It's one of my favorites. We're just getting going here. We've got Mike Wan here from Hot August Nights, took over as the new executive director. And we just love what you're doing in Reno, and we're going to get some more information from you. Stick around, folks. We got a great conversation going, and we'll be right back.
Buy Nevada First Gift Shop and Visitor Center at the Reno Town Mall is the place to buy local Nevada-owned products. There is over 4,000 square feet of unique items to choose from. Art, jewelry, books, music, inventions, clothing, candy, pottery, toys, even Nevada-made wine and more. Why, you can even purchase a gift basket full of Nevada-owned products. Buy Nevada First Gift Shop, located at the Reno Town Mall, 4001 Virginia Street in Reno. Buy local first.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Come see us.
For your spring and summer wardrobe, soft pastels have arrived at Boutique Elegante. Wonderful sweaters, tunics, and capris create that special look. Bold and bright, the colors of summer in fabulous combinations of red, navy, white, or black. Beautiful chiffon skirts with coordinating tops. Imagine these fashions at your patio party, a day at the lake, or on a cruise. This and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
Hi, I'm Chris from Past Time at Somewhere in Time. Are you looking for that one-of-a-kind gift that you can't find in the big department store? I have something for all occasions. Got stuff? Need to know whether or not it has value or how to sell it? We can help with that too. Come and see me Tuesday or Wednesday at Pastime in Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street in Reno. Just ask for Chris.
Wow! Live music here on the set of Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, getting us in the mood to talk about Hot August Nights, live music, hot rods, all the great things that Hot August Nights brings. We got Mike Wan on the set here today. Mike, I'm just so happy that you got the job. You sound like the right guy for it. And it's just the biggest thing, I think, in Reno. Is this the biggest event year-round? We have a lot of events here. This is probably the biggest, I would guess.
I would guess, based on the traffic and the rooms. I know the rooms last year were all booked throughout the year. So I don't know if
they have to go to Carson City to get a room, and Carson City's booked. Yeah. So you're right. It is, for as far as economic development goes, for the whole area, it's a boon. And it just started off as this concert in '86, and our love for cars. And then the need for, actually it said in the press release for that, they needed a convention to fill in at that time of the year. At that time of the year, we were a little thin on entertainment and conventions here to keep the casinos full, keep people coming to Reno. So Hot August Nights jumped in and said, we'll create this. And man, look what it's turned into. It's so neat.
Well, you mentioned the financial side of it. I mean, in 1986, of course, there was a lot of uncertainties. Today, just recently, we did a fiscal impact study. So the city of Reno taxes that they use, the taxes that go into the municipalities, that would cover 7 police officers if we didn't do it. $728,000 goes into the city of Reno fiscal impact. Those are just for taxes. RSCVA operates all year long, but based on our event, there's an income of $1.2 million to the RSCVA because of our event. We would have never thought of that years ago.
Right.
So we're happy to continue that, because if without these big events like ours and the other events in town, it's a different area than it was 30 years ago. We have the river downtown, we have all the baseball park downtown. Years ago, you used to be able to park in front of the casinos on Virginia Street and go inside, and that's not the case anymore. It's an event city.
Mm-hmm. And it just turned into just the neatest. And I know why, is because your board and your previous leaders found the right reasons and the right directions to take it and made the right changes. Like we said, they went from 1972 to 1976. That led in thousands more cars. I had a 1974. I was shut out this whole time. And finally, my 1974 would have been allowed in. So I know that, and there was still some hot rods in those years. I know what you're talking about, maybe not into the 80s. They weren't so hot roddy. But definitely the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s, great cars. So you know what changes are coming for this year. What are we going to see?
Well, I think, and this was my task, is what are we going to do to create the environment that we continue this event? We have to do something. We can't just sit back and think it's the same event from past. So again, a couple years ago, we created the drag racing, which brought in a different demographic. We talked briefly about the drifting. That's a whole different group. The drifting is a younger demographic, but they love cars. They love to go downtown and look at the cars, listen to music, and people love to go watch them. We've had autocross in the past. Autocross is a fun sport as a driver, maybe not as fun for the bystander or someone to watch. Drifting's a little different. This year we started a new event, brand new event, and it's because I went to these shows and I saw these trailers, these vintage classic trailers out there with the matching cars. That kind of sparked my interest. And then of course, board members. We get new board members come and go. And we got a new board member that came on board, John Whipple. He's got one. And he came through it last year, and all our advertising is his truck and his trailer. And he goes,
beautiful.
Maybe you ought to think about doing this. And that kind of started this whole drive. And he and I went to San Diego and went to a vintage trailer event, passed out flyers. Fortunately for us, we were able to partner with Washoe County Parks. They allowed us to put an event in their park, allowing them to stay the night in their trailer with permits, which is not allowed before, at Rancho San Rafael. We could put 150 trailers there. It's going to be, I think, a place where people are going to want to go and check out these trailers. Not just car people, but car people that like someone that takes something that's old and makes it new based on a love for whatever that may be, car or a trailer. And so just like we talked about with Dave Kindig, there's a group out of Oregon that has a show. It's called Flippin' RVs. So we get a hold of them, and they're going to come out and be a part of this event because they love watching people start with an old trailer, beat up trailer, rusted out trailer, and put it into this showpiece. And they're going to do that this year. So they're going to come out and watch. So I think between the trailers, it's going to be the future of our event, part of it. The drag racing, the drifting. You're always going to have the show and shines in downtown Reno and downtown Sparks. And all the casinos, the Atlantis, the Peppermill, the Grand Sierra, the Nugget, they're all going to have their show and shines. We can't, if we were to take and say, okay, we're not going to do one at one of the places, we don't have anywhere to put these cars.
Right.
When you have that many cars that register and you get that many thousands of people in town, you have to give them something to do.
Well, that's neat that you're going back to Rancho San Rafael because that's where the first car shows were at the first couple of years. It was so small, all the cars would fit at Rancho San Rafael the first couple of years. They had a burnout contest up in the parking lot up at UNR. It's the first time we had anything like that in this town. I have pictures of guys just screaming like this, the biggest and baddest thing they've ever seen in their life, and it's just some car sitting there frying the tires. And now it's a little more common, but back in those days it was very unique. And again, to have Rancho San Rafael back on as a stage there, that's great. How many entries do you expect to get on this trailer?
Like I said, we could get up to 150. I don't think we're going to get 150. Anything you start, you're going to have to give 2 to 3 years to take.
Sure,
apart.
I think it's going to catch on that people are going to want to build
I think
them.
we're going to have somewhere about half that. And
I can see the vintage wagons. They're pulling the trailer. I know there's been one that's come almost every year. Vintage station wagon, a 50s Ford station wagon. I can picture a two-tone. Got the camp trailer with a boat on top. And he parades that thing around and parades it in Sparks and Victorian Square, and just people go crazy. They love that. So I can see why you tap that new interest, and I think people are going to go out and start building little Airstreams and have something or some other 50s trailer to have it match their panel wagon and all their cars. It's very exciting.
And for these individuals that come with these trailers, if you try to go to RV park during that event, they're already booked. They're booked now. They're booked the week after. So this is an opportunity for a whole different group that have a trailer. They could camp in their trailer. It's dry camping. It's not an RV park.
Right. They're going to love the atmosphere up there.
A lot of these old trailers don't have the access for air conditionings and the sewage system in their trailers. So this is going to be kind of what they're used to anyway.
I can imagine a lot of them not camping there. They're just parking them there. They probably are already participants, and they'll have a room and they have plans. But maybe quite a few of them will want to spend the night there just for the nostalgia of it.
The nostalgia of these things are pretty neat because they have the old chairs. It's like they go to their own type of swap meet and they find their knickknacks that go out in front. And a lot of them are going to camp right there. So, and we're allowing them to do that. So that's kind of neat.
Well, it's just, as a fan, I love it myself. I go to the parades in Sparks. I go to the parades in downtown Reno. I go to all the casinos. I mean, I do it every day. I have a route. And I just love to see all that. And the swap meet.
Yeah.
And the swap meet just keeps going, too, at the fairgrounds out there. We didn't even touch on that yet. And there's a lot of money exchanged in that swap meet. At the same time, you're at the swap meet, you hear all these cars drifting, and you hear all these tires screeching, and it's just the atmosphere is amazing for a car guy, and it's just heaven. And it's just 1 week out of the year, unfortunately, and so we have to get our fix going to drag strips and everything else. But as for a car guy, this is heaven. So thank you for being part of that. What else do you see in our future to keep this going?
Well, the national exposure is one thing, and I think we've gotten it over the years. Every year, like I said, we got Kindig this year. We got this Flippin' RVs. I've always wanted to get someone else, come and be our guest for the weekend. But there's a cost to that, and we keep we're pretty fiscally responsible. We don't want to go out and spend $60,000 or $70,000 to have someone to come here because we don't.
Jay Leno is probably not going to be here this year.
He would be more than that. We've checked, but we'd love to have him come.
It would be more than that. Yeah, he's a car guy for sure.
Yeah, so we continue to look at different ideas, and I think the biggest thing for me is you got to be able to listen. You can't just talk all the time. You got to listen and see what the car participants want, see what the sponsors are looking for, what the community wants, and then see how we can make that all happen.
Well, I think Hot August Nights has done a very good job with your board over the years, listening and making improvements year after year. I know you just made improvements in the check-in system. That's a little frustrating to get in a long line and have to stand there for a long time while you're excited about getting going. And so you've done improvements with that. You said you had a new software package. And so I know you do listen. And the trailers are a result of listening. The drag racing is a result of listening. And the drifting, it does bring in a whole new generation. I was there, and I can tell you, they weren't all kids watching those cars go around there over at the fairgrounds. There was a lot of us old guys just because we loved the noise, I loved the competition, loved the cars, and it did bring a whole new element. Do you think that's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, that drifting part?
I think it will. I talked to the promoter, and they're bringing, I can't remember the guy's name, but they're bringing a professional driver from Australia out to race in this event. And I don't know if they're going to have a car set for him. You know, Australia, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. So right side for us, wrong side for them. I don't know.
I know it.
It'll be interesting how that turns out. So I think the drifting is going to continue to get bigger. I think we're going to need a bigger place for it. We're going to need to find some, if I could find a big piece that's just all clear, nice and smooth, concrete would be perfect. But we take what we get.
And I know we're short on that kind of stuff here. Why we don't have more motorsports tracks in northern Nevada is a whole nother subject. I really wish we had at least a real eighth mile with a real timing system, real drag racing. I'd love to see you guys do some bracket racing, you know, use the dial-in like most of NHRA does, and maybe someday we'll find enough property to put that at least eighth mile, if not a quarter somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere close.
And let the big guys really run it out, you know. I'm a big NHRA fan, and man, those cars, they're going 300 miles an hour. So, you know, we don't need to get that far into it, but it definitely is a great venue, and it ties in with all of the hot rodding that we do here. Something
that I have to keep in mind of is all these different events take manpower, and there's only a staff of 5. So we have 500 volunteers and a staff of 5. So I have to be careful not to overextend all these different things that we have going on. When I added the drifting, they're looking at me like, that's just more manpower. So then I added the trailer, you know, the vintage trailer. And fortunately, we have a couple that are part of our event that they have a trailer, and they're going to stay out there and be like the camp host.
Good.
But there's check-in processes. There's a lot of stuff. My concern is the volunteers. I mean, we could not do it without them.
Oh, sure.
There's no way we
From
could do this.
day one, you've had hundreds of volunteers.
So you think about the labor hours that we get free, but we do a lot for them as well. We try to keep them active all year. So it's a give and take, but yeah, hats off to those volunteers.
And they're doing it out of the passion for the sport. Well, you're listening to all that goes on at Hot August Nights. You heard a little bit about the history of it, where it's going to go. We're going to continue this conversation. It's my favorite conversation with Mike here. So stick around because this is really, really going someplace really great. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Somewhere in Time is the place to find what will be treasured for all time. A store full of the unexpected, with one of the largest beer and sports memorabilia collections on the West Coast. Vintage toys, casino and brothel memorabilia, Benton glassware, kerosene lamps from the 1800s, sun purple glassware, vintage neon, new and enlarged collections throughout the store. Have fun with the whole family and check out all the inventory in the store. Find the unexpected that'll be treasured for all time at Somewhere in Time. Let's face it, flooding is a fact of life. You may not be able to predict, but you can always prepare to avoid losses to structures, land, and even lives. Traditional protection like sandbags many times don't work. The new solution, trap bag flood and erosion systems. Low cost, great support, high stability, and load capacity. Easy to store and move with quick and easy installation. Protect your life, home, business, or land. For more information on this revolutionary flood and erosion system, contact Trap Bag today.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Come see us.
Hi, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall from the Marshall Mint, Virginia City and Reno, Nevada. I'm to introduce you to the Let 'em Run Wild Horse Mustang Series. Which depicts the Wild Mustangs herd running free, the mare and its foal, the Wild Mustangs fighting for love. These ingots are a limited edition double-struck product on 1 troy ounce 3-pine silver and are only available at the Marshall Mint, Virginia City or Reno, Nevada. Get your piece of history today.
For your spring and summer wardrobe, soft pastels have arrived at Boutique Elegante. Wonderful sweaters, tunics, and capris create that special look. Bold and bright, the colors of summer in fabulous combinations of red, navy, white, or black. Beautiful chiffon skirts with coordinating tops. Imagine these fashions at your patio party, a day at the lake, or on a cruise. This and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? Always love the man on the fuzzy tree. Be with your friend when you have such luck. I'm in love. I'm on such love. Yeah, yeah. I'm on such love, girl. I live like Roger Big Brown.
And there you go. Elvis is in the house. Welcome to the Marshall Mansion. Here we are with Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. And we're talking about Hot August Nights with Mike Wan, the new executive director. You've been at it for your first year. How did that first year feel when you were in charge?
It was good to get it done, but I was already prepared and done before the event even started. It was just a process at that point because it all happened all throughout the year. And it wasn't much of a break, though. I was already thinking of the next year. Today, I'm thinking about 2018. I'm already thinking about, oh, yeah, you have to, because if not, you're never going to catch up.
Well, we're talking about how all events have to evolve. And Hot August Night's one of them. The air races, the balloon races seems to be a little stagnant. They probably need to do something like the air races have added the drones. Hot August Nights just keeps getting better and better and evolving, and you do keep bringing in those crowds. So what else do you see for us this year and in the future?
Well, like I said, just different events, something to keep people busy. We want to try to get them to stay here longer. And speaking of which, so here's a new thing from 2 years ago, Virginia City. Let's talk about that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So that's a Friday and Saturday before our main event. The idea was on that is to get people to come up for that Friday and Saturday, then stay. There's actually events. It's not just a Tuesday through Sunday.
No.
It starts Friday in Virginia City, Saturday Virginia City, Sunday we have a car show at the Bonanza Casino. Monday is the Peppermill kickoff. Tuesday is the Atlantis kickoff, downtown Sparks, and then it just goes from there. So it's something that continues for over a week long. The other one is, we've had a bunch of different auction companies. This new auction company we had last year was our first year out of the chute. There was a little skepticism from people who just came back from seeing a Barrett Jackson show. Then we bring in this motorsport auction group. Barrett Jackson, when they had their last year, they had 232 cars that went across the block. The first year of motorsport auction group, 500 cars went across the block. So they were successful. There were some things they're going to tweak for this coming up year. The cars were cars that our people, our demographic, and our Hot August Night show can afford. We don't need the $1 million cars because we don't have the demographic for that. So for them, it's exciting. For us, it's exciting to have them. They're more of a partner for us. They're here in town. They spend money in town. They help with our charities, with our nonprofit, our foundation. So it's good to have them part of us on our team.
That's exciting. So we do want to talk a little about the foundation, which is the benefactor of all the revenue and the reason that people do show up and the reason the volunteers show up to make sure it's success, make sure there's some revenue. Tell us about the foundation.
So the foundation was established in 2007. At the time, there was a little bit of extra revenue from the event that they folded into the foundation. I can't say that as much anymore because we increased entertainment. So there's a cost there.
Right.
So the goal is to keep our foundation on its own to be able to make its own financial support. Last year, we gave out $156,000 out of our foundation.
Wow.
So we do that by, we have a big dinner. We had started it last year, the Foundation Classics and Cocktails. This year, it's in September. And it's an event. It's at the Atlantis. They sponsor it. And we're going to continue that to try to get people to start building up the monies into that foundation. We had our auction group that we partnered with. The part of the contract was they give us a car to put across the auction block.
Oh, nice.
So we have some very, very good donors that paid a lot for the car. And then there's people that just threw more money at the foundation during that event. Just that week, our foundation made $100,000 between the auction cars that the Motorsport Auction Group gave us. We have a donor out of Southern California that gave us a car to go through there.
Wow.
And then we had another donor that just gives us a financial cash donation. So the foundation is for kids in Northern Nevada in need and at risk. So we're not going to just give it to out of state. These kids are someone who really need the money. 2 years, 2016, we started to give all the high schools a scholarship foundation. So every high school in Washoe County last year got a $1,000 scholarship to go to every single high school.
Wow.
And I went to about every one of those events to hand out that scholarship.
Right.
This year there was 5 of them just on the 24th of May last week, and I can't be at all of them.
Right.
We also gave Virginia City one as well. So we gave
That's
out
gotta be rewarding.
$15,000 just in high school scholarships. So
to have a kid win a Hot August Night scholarship, that's got to be the coolest of all of them.
Yeah, it's neat. It's a neat feeling to be able to know that if not for this scholarship, this kid would not go to school.
Right.
And we're not typically looking at kids who are going to be, doctors or
Sure, they just want to help out.
biochemistry.
Yeah.
These could be trade schools. I'm totally good with the trade school. Why
Mm-hmm.
not, right? Why not them go into the automotive business or the, I don't care if you want to be a car painter.
Oh,
or
don't get me going on industrial arts and
because
the
it
education
isn't in the
system.
schools
Yeah.
anymore. It isn't in the schools, and I'd
I-
like to see that. But that's
I took 3 years of it at Hug High. My favorite class, my favorite teacher, all the above, was the welding and the auto shop.
Yeah.
And man, and they taught me trades, and that I could do with my hands to this day. So that's very valuable. And
you
good
don't
for you
have
guys.
you don't have kids out there who know how to change a spare tire or a flat tire
know it.
anymore. So,
Right.
needless to say, this foundation's great. It's exciting for us to be able to not have to depend on the Hot August Nights funding to do that because our margins are small. I don't think people realize what our margins are. There's not a lot of money that's made every year. It's just enough to make it through the following year. It's a one-week event. We have to prepare all year. All our money comes in on 1 week. Even our registrations that come in all year, we can't spend that.
Right.
We have to wait because if someone backs out, if they all back out, we need to be able to reimburse their money. So it's a challenge fiscally to stay on top of this event.
Mm-hmm. So we've covered most of it. We've covered the past. We've covered the changes that you've got to continually evolve to make sure that Hot August Nights stays vibrant and growing. And I think Hot August Nights has been extremely successful from the beginning at doing that. So you've got a great group of volunteers. What else do you want to say about those guys?
Well, people see the volunteers their very first day and check in, and they see how many are in there. And it takes a village to make this happen. When you have 3,000 people come one day and to get their packets, it's like having 3,000 people walk into DMV at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's going to take time.
Take a number.
Although we came up with an idea this year, which I didn't come up with. The people came up with, gave me a call, gave me an email. Why don't we just do something for the locals? And the idea was have them come to our office to pick up everything throughout the month before. It's not that easy because we have to pack, 6,000 bags, and we pack them the week ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did do is we added a day to the registration process. So Tuesday's our typical check-in day. Everyone gets all their packet information. For locals only, we're going to do it on Monday. It'll be nothing but the same. You have a Nevada driver's license, you could get through that door, you could get your packet, you could get in and out. Now, there's no events going on for the most part, the Atlantis and Pep Mill. But I'm not trying to get them out of the way, but in a sense, I'm trying to help them get their stuff. So come Tuesday, they don't have to go into the Grand Sierra and get their packet. So everybody else who's coming to town, hopefully the lines aren't as long. So we made that early check-in for the locals, and we changed our process. I call it FaceTime. Our volunteers are great. They do a great job. But on us, staff and past, we made them do a lot of things that I really took a look at and said, do we really need to do this? Do we have to make them sign on every one of these lines?
Right.
FaceTime to me it should be down. It's 7 or 8 minutes in the past, and we're down to about 3 to 4 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes hopefully this time. So that'll make that line move faster as well. And we're going to go back to the numbering system. It was just one single line, and then the next person would be like an airport type turnstile, and this one's going to be 1 to 249, 250 to
Gotcha.
400. So we're going to try that and then see how that works. What was they used in the past, and it seemed to work, but I think the time in front of somebody is important where you have to cut that time down. For example, we used to ask for insurance information. So the insurance information was valid maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, because guess what? Nobody in the state of Nevada was required to have insurance. So our event permitting said you have to make sure your drivers have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from my law enforcement background, that's the law enforcement's
It's a little
job.
redundant now.
That's a law
huh?
enforcement's job to do
Yeah.
that. Why should we ask for insurance when that's their job? So
Right.
we don't ask for insurance. So anything we could do to speed up that process was my goal this year.
It's just so neat. Now speaking of the locals, because you gave them that nice little early intro, what's the ratio do you think between the locals, because I know there's a lot of cars here, the local registrations versus the out of the area registrations? Do you know, is it 50-50, a little more?
We get about, I would say about 30%.
30% are from Reno Sparks?
Yeah.
Which is huge, out of that many cars.
Yeah, we get about 2,000 people that are, last year was like 2,200, and right now we already have about 1,700 signed up, locals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our bread and butter. We got to make sure we take care of that.
And how many volunteers are you working with?
We're every year we're just under 500.
500.
So it's
and those are all locals for the most part.
No, you know what? We have people that come, and we'll take anybody.
Yeah.
So we have people that come from out of town that come for the week. Maybe it's a spouse that wants to help out in check-in or help out on the street parking cars, or for someone who is a volunteer. Guess what? They get preferred parking because they got to get their cars parked. Then they work it. They get everyone else's car parked. And they'll come in just for that week, and they'll work. They'll come in. We've had them from out of the country. We've had Australia. We've had people come from all over the place. A lot from Oregon area, Washington, a lot from California. So it's not just locals. We will take anybody who is willing to help us out.
And it does take a village. So, and they do. And it's a perfectly run event. I think it's just so seamless. As a spectator, I can go everywhere I want to go, do everything I want to do, see everything I want to see flawlessly, seamlessly, because the event does go off without a hitch for the most part.
And that's what we want to show. Even if it doesn't go off without a hitch, from the perspective of the car participant or from the visitors, we want them to think it's all perfect. Behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. Nothing's ever perfect, but it works.
Is it chaos?
I wouldn't say it's chaos. I would say organized chaos.
Okay, organized chaos. Yeah. Well, again, I just love Hot August Nights. I love it. I love it. I love it. Someday we'll have a drag strip here. That would be good. We mentioned earlier the drag racing. They did have drag racing out of Stead for a little while, and it was a nice start. And but somehow we got to get a real drag strip involved. And Reno just needs one year round, not just that week. But it is great to have somewhere to go race at least that week, and at least watch racing without it going all the way to Fallon or all the way to Sacramento. I actually go to Sears Point to watch NHRA when they're in town. So I love what you guys do. I can't wait for Hot August Nights every year. My stores at the By Nevada First Gift Shop is across the street from the Atlantis parking lot. So, I mean, I'm hearing the cars start up. I'm seeing the crowds. So I just love it. We got one more segment, so we're going to keep talking Hot August Nights, and we've got a few other subjects we're going to go over. So thank you for listening so far. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Somewhere in Time is the place to find what will be treasured for all time. A store full of the unexpected, with one of the largest beer and sports memorabilia collections on the West Coast. Vintage toys, casino and brothel memorabilia, Benton glassware, kerosene lamps from the 1800s, sun purple glassware, vintage neon, new and enlarged collections throughout the store. Have fun with the whole family and check out all the inventory in the store. Find the unexpected that'll be treasured for all time at Somewhere in Time.
Deluxe Travel, locally owned and operating since 1991, is the home for travel to Mexico and Central and South America. The crew at Deluxe Travel is bilingual, trustworthy, thorough, and caring. They will do everything possible to make your dream vacation the best it can be. Now is the time to book for winter travel, so stop by the office at 100 California Avenue or call 686-7000. You can also check us out on our website at deluxetravelLTD.com.
At Deluxe Travel, we sell dreams. Come in and plan yours.
Let's face it, flooding is a fact of life. You may not be able to predict, but you can always prepare to avoid losses to structures, land, and even lives. Traditional protection like sandbags many times don't work. The new solution, trap bag flood and erosion systems. Low cost, great support, high stability, and load capacity. Easy to store and move with quick and easy installation. Protect your life, home, business, or land. For more information on this revolutionary flood and erosion system, contact Trap Bag today.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Come see us.
Hi, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall from the Marshall Men, Virginia City and Reno, Nevada. Come to introduce you to the Let 'em Run Wild Horse Mustang Series. Wish depicts the Wild Mustangs herd running free, mare in its foal, the Wild Mustangs fighting for love. These ingots are a limited edition double-struck product on 1 troy ounce 3-pine silver and are only available at the Marshall Mint, Virginia City, or Reno, Nevada. Get your piece of history today.
Everything is handpicked here at Precision Diamonds.
Pretty woman, walking down the street, pretty woman, kind of like to be, pretty woman. You look lovely as can be, are you lonely just like me? Oh, pretty woman.
Yes, there you go. Elvis is in the house still. Dave Asher here, sitting in for John O'Brien. I'm just honored to be here on the set in the Marshall Mansion. Welcome back to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. We're talking about 60s music. We're talking about cars. We're talking about Hot August Nights. I got Mike Wan on the set here. Took over last year as his first full year as executive director of Hot August Nights, which is just nothing but music and cars and fun and joy and spreading the great nature that Reno has to the rest of the world. Isn't that just a neat message to send out to all these Californians and everybody else that comes from far and wide? I bet you Dave Kindig's got to come down here from Salt Lake City and go, that Reno, that's a cool town. I might have to open up a shop there one of these days or something like that.
That would be good. It would be good to get them all here.
Yes, yes. So we just love our cars here in northern Nevada. We just love them. We have a lot of car shows year-round. Now, you're talking about everything that you do at Hot August Nights. But you have more events than just that one week. You just went through the whole week of how complicated it is behind the scenes and how many volunteers it takes, but you have more events. We just had the spring event.
Yeah, we kick it off in the spring, usually the second or third weekend of May. It gives people an opportunity to get their cars out, get the covers off, get them cleaned up. Mm-hmm. They could show and shine their cars. We pick cars that week for our what we call our Reno Gazette newspaper wraps, and ultimately one of those cars will be our poster.
Wow.
Last year's poster was an unbelievable poster, which our sales, we already sold out. We don't even have them. We have posters from years ago that we sell currently. We don't have any 2016 posters left. So yeah, we have the Spring Fever. And then, there's so many car shows throughout this whole summer. Mm-hmm. I mean, from Wednesday nights to Friday night cruise nights, there's things almost every weekend. We actually plan this with all the different promoters, car promoters, in January to make sure there's no overlap. Mm-hmm. Cops and Burgers is a big event that comes, and there's so many different car events. Then, of course, our main event. And at the end, and we brought this back last year, is the Fall Frenzy. The Fall Frenzy is an opportunity for our car volunteers, because it's so small and it's in a parking lot, to just bring their car out and enjoy, because it takes very little of us to do this. And this is also at Baldini's this year. So we have, our three main events. And again, the last one's more about the volunteers. We try to do a lot for our volunteers. All these casinos that, help support us and have their events in their parking lots. Not only do they help support us financially, but they give us dinners, and these dinners could be for 300 or 500 volunteers to come and eat, and it doesn't cost us. Our Christmas parties, our give back parties, and then our recruiting parties. We have one this weekend. So it's a recruiting party that we bring in, try to get people to say, hey, this is a fun event, it's fun to do, and people are like, well, I got to pay $40. Well, you're right, you pay $40, but you know what? If we didn't do that, people would sign up to be a member, they would get their passes to do all this free stuff, and they never show up. So the shirts alone and the hats and everything else that we give them, they're $40 a great investment. I mean, just one of those dinners is a $40 meal.
Sure. So, just the whole organization. It's just you have a newsletter, very professional. You've got your own office, and now you as executive director. That's just so cool. And what do you see 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Because you're the one whose vision, some of it is going to be applied.
Yeah, you know what? I hope we see the same. I mean, you really need to see the same. You don't really want to change a lot. Everyone wants to show their cars. You just have to tweak it a little bit and make those other events. I mean, I don't know how long drifting will last, drags will last, or the travel trailers. we'll go and there'll be something else that'll come up.
Yeah.
But we have the Hot August Nights Cup that is downtown Reno, that is presented by Downtown Reno, that is kind of new the last couple of years. I don't know how long that's going to last. Depends on, these are $1 million cars. These are the best of the best. And these cars go down there and they compete for $100,000. Wow. $70,000 of that is in cash, and then the rest is product. Speaking of Dave Kindig, he's unveiling a car that's never been seen at that event. Now we're getting into the Detroit stuff. We're getting into the Riddler Cup type events. Everywhere I go to these different car shows, people want to ask me about the Cup, or they think, is your car or my car better than the rest, to where I could compete for this thing? And I'm not a judge, and thank God for that, because I bring my judges in from all over the country as well. So the future is maybe these high-end cars, part of it, but you can't forget where you came from. And where we came from is the car builds that were done by mom and pop, or in the garage, or father and son. That's our backbone. That's our event. And those other ones are just kind of highlights to kind of tickle people's interest. We get some sponsorships out of it. So I don't know where it's going to lead us, but we have to do whatever we can to make sure it goes for another 30 years.
Well, I know it will be here because of the love and the passion from everybody, from every volunteer. Like we were talking about, this is some people, especially if they come in from out of the area, this is their vacation. They take the 1 week off, and it's on their dime that they're getting a hotel room. It's on their dime that they're coming here, paying for all their meals. This is their vacation, and this is by choice. Well, you've got to love somebody like that. But, we're also, as a nation, I'm seeing more and more cars coming back. The Dodge Charger, the Mustang is just, the sales of the Mustang going crazy, the new Camaros. So we're still hot rodding the new Dodge Charger. I think is 9.6 quarter miles from the factory. That's crazy. Then all the way into the future with the Teslas being the fastest production car on the planet.
Yeah.
So there's a need for speed out there, and I think that we're going to still continue to tap that here.
Well, and if you look back 10 years ago, you didn't see a lot of late 60 models trucks, early 70 models trucks. There was all the 50 models trucks. Guess what? Those are the hot tickets. You know why? Because they're available. They haven't been fixed up like all the 50s and 40s. So you'll see that trend as well. You'll see the cars that were maybe not so important or big of a deal 10 or 15 years ago now are starting to, in the 70 years. It's just something that's going to evolve, and people are going to look at what is the next. Volkswagen bus. I saw one the other day that someone told me was a $100,000 Volkswagen bus. And it was tricked out. It was a beautiful bus.
They're pretty cool.
I had a Volkswagen when I was a kid.
I think Dave Kindig did one of those on his show.
Yes, he
and
did.
then you've got the last 2 or 3 years, the evolution of the rat rod has really grown too. So that's just a whole nother direction that's not preserving, and it's not. I mean, it's the opposite.
But people love it.
Yes.
I mean, people come down there and they have their own show as well, but people love to see that difference. And it's not about, if I like a Ford or a Chevy or a Mopar or whatever, it's about the quality of either workmanship or the lack of, and the originalness of the individual building it. It's an art. And, Reno has a lot of events, and Art Town's one, and people love art. This is art in some people's minds.
Oh, completely.
What?
Hey, Elvis is here.
I'm back in town.
He is back in town.
And you're doing a heck of a job, my
Hey,
friend.
thanks, Elvis. I had no idea.
At TCB, I take care of business, as far as my people are concerned, and you've been doing such a wonderful job. There's going to be a Cadillac in your driveway come tomorrow morning, buddy.
Gold one.
Unfortunately, it's a 1953, and it has 4 different color fenders because it's been hit about 10 times. And there's no front seat on there. And you, Dave, buddy, what can I say about your store and about how much you do for Nevada?
Well, isn't that fun? So we're Nevadans supporting Nevadans.
I know, and he was telling me, folks, as we were talking before the show, that he was back in one of my concerts, 1976, 77, and you were sitting too far back, buddy. Row 22, seat 10.
Row 11, seat 22.
Oh, well,
Elvis
like
playing at the Centennial Coliseum here in Reno.
Well, anyway, I didn't get it to you, but I brought you one of my scarves from my home.
Oh, nice job. Oh,
of course,
good for you.
I've been on hard times, my friend.
You look like you've lost a little weight too since then.
I have, buddy. I have, and this is 2-ply. You know what I mean?
You got to put it around your neck and get a little sweat on it, though.
But it's already got my sweat on it.
Okay, thank you. Wow, that's what the girls were doing.
That's
when
right,
they got that
making all that noise, Well, I've been hiding out the truck stop over there in Sparks, for many years now. If you ever need gas, you come on by. I'll take care of you.
Yeah, you got a song for us?
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Have you got a favorite song that you like? Old Cesar, like All Shook Up, and
the blue suede shoes.
And nothing but a hound dog, here rocking all the time. Yeah, nothing but a hound dog, here rocking all the time. Yeah, never called her other than you ain't no friend of mine. Yeah. What a great crowd. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's just the perfect tie-in. We're talking music. We're talking hot rods.
It's going to be nothing but a party that weekend, isn't that right, buddy?
That's it.
And we got so many of my friends. I mean, a lot of my deceased friends, you know, we're all up in rock and roll heaven looking down here, but we're all going to come back on a bus. You know, it'll be one of those buses. You know that.
We have room for you.
Yeah, well, I know you do. Yeah, put me on the roof. Anyway, who else have we got on that weekend that I might know about?
The Grand Sierra. Thursday night, Johnny Rivers.
Oh, Johnny, I love it.
Johnny. Friday night's going to be Rick Springfield.
Oh, very good. A little more contemporary. Yeah.
And then Joan Jett on Saturday night.
Joe Jett.
That's going to rock.
I love rock and roll. Yeah, okay.
And then earlier in the week, we'll do a couple tribute bands. We're actually going to do a tribute band from Neil Diamond. So we can't really get Neil Diamond out here, but we got a tribute band for Neil Diamond on Wednesday, and then Tuesday night's a Journey tribute band.
Well, you know, for those of us who are a little older, we take our glasses off, and what the heck, it all looks the same.
It does? Okay, good.
Yeah, true story, you know.
So that's in Grand Sierra, and then, of course, Sparks is our other big venue, and we're going to have a lot of tribute bands throughout the week, but a band called Boogie Nights on Friday night.
Oh, Boogie Night, yeah.
Pablo Cruz Saturday night.
Oh, yes, sir. I knew the guitar player many years ago, you know, from, can't think of his name. He never did like me very much anyway, but that's
why you don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. We're talking cars and we're talking music, and there's just nothing better to involve all of those subjects. It's Hot August Nights. August Nights.
She's real fine, my 409. She's real fine, my 409. My 409. No Beach Boys this year, I guess, huh?
No Beach Boys, no Elvis.
It's always something to look forward to. And by the way, I'm available. You know, just drop by the truck stop. I'll come by the house. You know what I mean? And we'll party.
Well, there you have it. We're talking about Hot August Nights in this show. I hope you enjoyed getting a little history, the past, the present, and the future of Hot August Nights with their new director, Mike Wands, doing a great job. I look forward to this year's Hot August Nights more than ever. We just love our cars here in Northern Nevada. And so you've got to be, I don't know if you feel the pressure, but because we love that event, you know, the ball's in your court to keep it going, keep it evolving, keep it righteous, keep it alive, keep it safe. You know, we didn't talk much about that, but I know it's going to be safe because you're in charge and that's your background. And just as so many people come to this town and get a flavor of Reno that week. Any final comments before we go?
I'm just glad to be able to throw the biggest party the city has ever had and ever will have, and that's going to be my goal, is making sure everybody has fun at the end of the day.
And go to the sock hop. We didn't mention, I go to the sock hop myself. I'm a swing dancer, so we go to the sock hop a lot. We go to all the car shows. We just love what you bring to town and everybody before you, all the great changes. Everything is just so neat about Reno here. Thanks. We miss John. We miss you, Roy Marshall, being on set here. But we'll see you all next week. Remember, keep it in Nevada, keep it love, and we love everything about Nevada, and we love Hot August Nights. Thank you very much.